So the report that covers site visits, January 1st, 2022 to January 31st, 2022. Loki Brill visited 8 sites, 2 follow-up sites. They checked a residency of 85 workers. 2 were non-compliant, and there was no proof of residence on those. As of January 31st, 2022, all monitored sites were in compliance at the time of inspection. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Kevin Loki? You did a good job, Lydia. No questions for him, okay? Greg, are you there? You ready to get the treasurer's report?
Yeah, I'll be brief. We are smack dab in the middle of audit season, so working to get our auditors moving on the audit for 2021. In terms of January financials, again, a pretty quiet month for us. You know, just a little trend here. I look back 4 years. You know, it's interesting. Our cash ended up is about almost 5.8 million, and again over 4 years. If I look back at the same time, that's kind of what the average ends up being. Same thing with equity. You know, just wanted to show a little trend there. Again, it fluctuates a little bit, but over the last 4 years, our net assets is average about 6.9 million, and we're a little bit over that. So again, just to try to get some perspective on where we are and where we were. The revolving loan fund, get about 8,000 a month in principal, still on that. Still moving forward on that. No significant changes there. The emergency loan receivable, I'm not going to get in a lot of the detail right this second. That balance we got a couple more adjustments. We're just trying to figure out at the end where it's all going to shake out. But that balance, which is the receivables, is pretty close to where we think it's going to end up. We're still working on finalizing that balance. Working with the county on some of those forgiveness applications and where that's going to shake out, but that balance is pretty close. There may be a few other accounts that we adjust through there.
Question. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On that, so there's an attachment in the package that talks about those loans, right? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yes.
So how does that? It didn't seem to reconcile to the 91.8. You know what I mean?
Hang on a sec. And again, I think we do have one or two adjustments. There's a lot of movement. Let me see what page. And again, we can
It's on
get to that.
page,
But
7.
let me just look at it.
If the board is comfortable, I'm happy. This is Rebecca. I'm happy to interject and if we'd like to do a deeper dive on this now and the board is comfortable with moving that up a bit, I'm happy to do so.
I guess my question is, so we're going
to discuss it.
We're going to show write-offs or no?
So again, right now, let's go back a little bit here, Phil. So back in 2020, we reserved, I believe our reserve was $92,000.
Okay.
And we made a reserve, and that hit our P&L back in 2020. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, based on what and Rebecca's going to talk about, there's still a couple moving parts here. I do believe that at the end of the day, we've already written off 92. I believe our total write-off is going to be closer to 100. So there may be another $7,500 adjustment there to give us for a total of $100,000.
I didn't know
which is
we had
really some of those
already
3 businesses have closed and the 7. So that's the 10.
Yep.
10, right? If you say 3 have closed and 7s are starting the grant process, 10 businesses at 10,000 is about the 100. And then the remaining 9 and change are the ones that are going to stay on the balance sheet because we think we haven't heard from them, and then we're going to again, right now it's going to convert to a loan. So that's where that's kind of where I believe that the numbers are going to shake out. If that
Okay,
makes
I got
sense.
you. I didn't know we'd reserved already for
Yes.
92 grand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
Rebecca's gonna go over that
Yeah.
with us in a minute. Are there any more questions for Greg? Good job as always, Greg. Rebecca, you want to talk about the retain program, and then we're going to talk about the emergency small business loan update. Just quickly, remind me what the acronyms are for retain.
That is an excellent question.
Well, that's all right. Let's go ahead. I remember the program now.
We will put it in the chat as soon as we can find it. Excuse me for not quite recalling.
No, I recall that what we're trying to do is retain our brain power and our young folks here in the city, and we've I mean in the county here, we've incentivized them. So I remember that we approved this program. Was it last year?
Correct. February of 2021 as a pilot
Okay.
program.
Okay, please share the update with us.
Certainly. So thank you for your time while I can dive back into this for you. So we have taken a very close look at this program, and we are at the ignition stage now. We're hoping to be able to launch this in about a couple of weeks in March. We are bringing it back to the board because it has been a minute since we've last discussed this. There's been a couple of things that paused the launch of it, making sure that we were evaluating this and incorporating all elements in light of where we were with COVID and just making sure that we were covering all of our bases. Where we have landed is we are asking for one small change to what you all approved back in February of 2021. And that is simply to extend the time frame for when college graduates graduated from 2 years ago to 3 years ago, essentially trying to incorporate folks who graduated just before COVID and when the world changed a bit. And so as people are coming back into the workforce, we want to be able to give an incentive and an option to allow employers to really offer something to keep folks at home in our home turf. So what we are looking at is that this is an opportunity to, as Hanif had said, that we can both incentivize students to stay in the region, but also work closer with businesses to give them the opportunity to find local talent who will be interested in staying here as well. So essentially, it's something like a signing bonus that we're offering. And it will strengthen our relationship with the local businesses and also develop stronger relationships with local talent. So I don't believe I need to read through the entire document that you have in front of you, but I am open to any questions or concerns you might have.
So we're looking at a motion here to extend this to 3 years versus the original 2, right?
No, so the change that you wanted to make with people who have graduated within 2 years rather than within 3 years.
Right.
That's the change we want to make.
That's
It's
the
not,
change.
yeah, it's not extending the program for 3 years. It's offering the program to students who have graduated within 3 years rather than students who have graduated within 2 years.
Excuse me, I stand to be corrected.
And it's
Okay.
it's a 1-year program. That's what we're approving?
Yes,
1-year
correct.
funding?
Correct. Yes. So
And
the
how
students
much
would get
did
the
we
funding.
fund? I don't remember.
It's $100,000, and we're looking to fund for
100,000.
each student 2,000.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, so I to tell you the truth, I don't remember this that well. So why do we I'm a liberal arts grad. Why do we eliminate people just because of that type of stuff?
What we're trying
Or maybe we don't. I read it that way though.
They tend to move out, go to California.
the focus of this is to try to focus on the areas where people leave.
Okay.
And so we wanted to incentivize the industries and the businesses to keep the talent that have historically left the region.
Okay, I got you.
So that's
And
the focus.
just a couple other questions. So what is, tell me how I would define advanced manufacturing. Is that any manufacturer or has it got to be something special?
Lydia can answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lydia?
so, yeah, I think it is, so if you look at what, the areas that are kind of the focus of the Finger Lakes, Planning Council, optics, it wouldn't necessarily be all manufacturing, but it would be those, high-tech concentration manufacturing. I think that's where we're seeing folks that, come to RIT as an example, and then, take a job out of the area. And those are the
Gotcha.
types of folks they're trying to retain.
Lydia,
Yes. Hi,
Joe
Joe.
Rizzo. Good. Sorry, I'm late. I joined late. Just a quick question is, what Phil was saying is that for advanced manufacturing, GRE could probably articulate that as well. But is there some flexibility in terms of interpretation of that type of industry for this particular program?
Well, I think that's within our purview.
Right.
Yeah, as with any program, we've identified certain industries such as optics as an example, that are targeted by the region for retention and growth, right? That being said, we don't know what level of interest and activity we're going to have here. So it gives us, I think, kind of a broad-based definition. We can expand it if needed.
Exactly. Like we've done with other programs, is that with economic development is we'll have, kind of to see the appetite and kind of broader range of that. Okay, that's helpful. But yeah, so in terms of the directional line of sight of what's happening in the local, regional, and state direction of the type of industries. Okay, thanks much. That was helpful.
Well,
And we'll be
let's be
reporting
clear-
back
let's
regularly.
be clear on this here. The language says college or university. It doesn't say trade school.
Correct.
Yeah, we got that.
No, but being my point is that when we're defining advanced manufacturing, we're defining it as what Lydia is describing that, and that's the high tech, the optics. This is the thing that we don't want to lose.
Right. And we already have some incentive programs for like a certificate program out of MCC or a 2-year degree out of MCC. So this,
Yeah, I'm trying to answer Phil's question that he had, is that how is that going to be defined? And I think when the retained program came up to us before, we did define that.
thank you, Hanif. Yep.
Okay. And
So we
and the
haven't
mon-
given out any of these yet?
I'm sorry?
We haven't given out any of these grants yet?
Correct.
And the money
And-
goes to the company first and then they disperse it to the employee?
That is correct. Yes. And
Are
each
they-
company, you have up to 5 grants that they could obtain.
And are they required to disperse it to the employee?
They're required to disperse it if that individual stays with
Stays.
that company for a year.
And they keep it otherwise?
No,
They would not keep it otherwise. We keep it otherwise.
They have to submit paperwork. to
They
show us that
submit-
they're still there, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're the ones who have to submit the proof and the documentation to us, to you, to confirm that their employee is now entitled to, that they've submitted their end of the bargain.
Okay, and my last question, especially with the type of industries and so forth that you're talking about, is a $60,000 salary cap going to work?
Do we have it?
We do, for incoming employees.
We might have to
Yep.
read that one when we go to do it.
Yeah, that may be something we have to revisit if we run into that as an issue. This is a pilot program, obviously, and so this is something that we didn't want it to be open to everyone. We wanted to have some limitations because we weren't putting a huge amount of money into it, but certainly we can evaluate that. And if we need to come back, we can come back.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
There is one addition or a correction rather, is when you originally approved this back in 2021, we approved it for Monroe County businesses with 100 or fewer employees, and that is staying the same. The document that you have in front of you has a typo on it, so our apologies.
So any more questions? We want to get to the motion here.
Okay, this is maybe too technical a question, but the fact that the money will be given to the business at the end of the employee's 1-year period of employment, and then from the business, it'll go to the employee, if I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
And just out of curiosity, are there tax implications in reporting as income related to the employee, and who's responsible for that? Is it the county or is it the employer that will do that disclosures?
That will have to be up to the employee and the employer to determine how it impacts their own taxes.
All right, just for a point of order, we've got a motion that we want to put forth. After that motion, we'll call the question. If there's any more questions about this program or anything that we need to ask Rebecca, we'll do it at that time. And then after that, we'll just vote on it. So the motion reads to amend the retained program to allow students to be graduated from a college or university located in Monroe County within 3 years. That's the change that we're looking for. Can I get someone to,
I'll move that.
okay, can we get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. All right, so that passes there. Rebecca, you're going to talk to us about the emergency small business loan update?
Certainly will, yes.
And I hope that it's good news.
Well, I think I like plans. So plans always make me feel a little bit better. And that's what we're presenting to you today is a plan to move forward on these and make some real decisions. So I would like to break this out the way you have it on your paperwork. There's essentially 4 categories of loans, right? The easy one is 169 loans have already been forgiven. We've received that. That's our good kid box, right? The next one are the 3 businesses that have already closed. One of them, they've already received the forgiveness from you. And then the other 2, they will be required to go through the formal forgiveness process, but the request will be for us to forgive that additional $20,000 for those 2 businesses. The next 2 are a little bit stickier. And so this is where we want some discussion with this, but this is our proposal and it's been reviewed with folks across the street at our county executive level as well. And hopefully this makes some sense, but please stop me if it doesn't. There are 7 businesses that began work with us when we were asking them to submit the paperwork, but they did not finish in time. We are interested in having our staff work with those businesses to finish the process. And then we would bring that back to this board to ask for you to forgive those funds and the amount of $70,000 ultimately. The last bucket of folks are the 9 businesses that were completely unresponsive. So we don't know what happened. They had no interaction with us during our reach out to them. What we are interested in doing is calling the loans essentially. And so letting them know that the repayment period is starting and not offering any forgiveness to them, but offering to them that if they want options to reach out to us, but that the collection period will begin. If they reach out to us, then we can explore whether or not forgiveness is on the table for them, but they would have to go through that formal process. And then again, we would have to bring it back to this board to ask for that approval. But the idea is since they've been non-responsive, they in fact have loans and it is time to collect upon that loan. And if they respond, then we can engage in conversations. So that's the in a nutshell, that's the proposal. I'm open to any questions you may have.
What will the collection process be?
We have not figured that out yet, to be quite honest with you. But we will engage our legal department here to figure out how that might look.
So what we're actually trying to do is get a response, so we'll know which way to go.
That is correct, yes.
Yes. Well, it sounds pretty good to me. I mean, that's how I have to do it with my relatives, you know? That same process, we've had to implement that. It's not a fun thing to do, but at least what we're trying to do is get a reaction so we'll know how to forgive or not to forgive, you know? There has to be some extenuating circumstances, and I think the process that we have set up to make folks accountable for these loans, we did that in good faith, and we're trying to get them to do this in good faith. So
Do we know, do the 95.5, do they exist anymore? Do we know that, or are they still in business?
We aren't 100% certain because of course we haven't heard from them, but we believe that the majority of them are still in business.
Gotcha. So the likelihood, if they do respond, you're going to recommend that we forgive the loans, but we won't get reimbursed by the county then, right?
That is correct, yes.
All right. Okay, thanks.
so you're just asking, can we approve this as a process, right?
That is correct. Oh, yeah, right, no action,
Just wanted
sorry.
to let you know.
Allison was
Yeah.
making sure that I said the right words for you.
Right.
Yes, no action required on your part other than we wanted to make sure that you were aware of what our proposal is to move this forward and to seek, if you have any input on that, to let us know.
Sounds good to me. Do we have any one that wants to chime in, or do we disagree with this, or let us know?
Sounds reasonable to me too.
Yeah.
Thank you
If
all.
you're on board, Ella, I'm on board.
Good job of getting the repayments. I don't want to say that these numbers here are small. 16 that we have here, 7 that are going to be forgiven, and 9 that has just been unresponsive. So I think that that's pretty good. Kudos to the staff of working this out and going the extra mile to ensure that we're whole again. So I'm all right with it. Any more questions for Rebecca? Rebecca, this is your first time before the board handling matters of a business like this here. Very excellent, you know? I think you hit us right over the head and got us right out of the way there. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you
Okay.
as well. Thank you all.
The Redco CDC portfolio transfer update, we're going to get that from Kevin Loki.
Yes.
I mean, Lydia Burr, I'm sorry, Lydia Burr.
One of the same, no. Thank you. So we last week received the letter agreement to formalize the transfer of the Redco portfolio. This is just another step in the process, if you will. So we've been approved by the SBA. That's what this means. So wanted to just let you know that we'll be signing this agreement and returning it. The city, as well as Redco, also have agreements they need to enter into with the SBA, and we've been told that they have secured one of those signatures. We'll be securing the second signature they expect this week. And then the SBA will schedule a meeting to talk about the transfer of files and other legal issues that need to be addressed with that. And moving forward.
So there won't be any coronation or anything like that, just we take the burden of the loans and that's it, right?
Yep.
So having said that, as I read this,
Mhm.
my impression was we were going to take absolutely no responsibility. We were doing this as a favor to the SBA. Do you read this letter agreement that way?
Yeah, well, that's my understanding. I'll defer to Barry. Can you chime in on that? Barry has reviewed it already.
Okay.
Sure. And so there are obligations sort of going forward once you receive the files and to service the loans going forward. But there's not, the sort of understanding was that there was not liability for anything that happened previously for any of these portfolio loans, and that any sort of defaults or things that occur wouldn't impact the risk rating going forward.
And do we have anything in writing saying that?
It's not in this letter, no.
Yeah, I believe we have some emails regarding that. I'll confirm that with them.
I have one other nit in reading
Okay.
this. If you look at the last line of the first paragraph,
Mhm.
I think they got a typo in there, right? It shouldn't be to the
Barry
withdraw-
identified that.
Yeah, so we raised that with the SBA, and they have indicated to us that it reads correct, and that
It doesn't.
I know, and that we sort of have that for the file as well. I think what they meant to do is, while they could leave withdrawing CDC there, if they extended the parenthesis to include all of that in the parentheses, perhaps. Rather than what I thought, which is what you read it as well, that they transposed the word to transferee CDC. So they have, we
Whatever.
raised that. Huh?
Okay,
Further, I'd just like to say we, have reached out to Dave Richards, who does our loan review, and he's given us a quote, a very reasonable quote, on reviewing the files as they come over. So we'll have a starting point as to what we received from the SBA. Craig will be working with him on that. And so we will at some point have a report, if you will, that says, these are the things that were deficient in the files that we received. So we will have a document to share with the parties.
with the SBA.
Yeah, yes. Yep. So,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
And this is gonna take place, what, in the next few months or what? When is all this to be finalized?
Well, I don't really have a time frame on that. I think, we expected it to be finalized prior to this, so it's really at the SBA's discretion. They did tell us that they will be scheduling a meeting with Redco, the city, and ourselves to, talk about next steps. Hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. I think the next step for us is to get this agreement back to the SBA as well as the other parties return their agreements. And then we will know more.
Okay,
keep-
Lydia, you're still on here for the SBA annual review report.
Yes. Okay, so we received on the 19th of January, a letter that's in your package. The SBA reviewed our 2018 and 2019 annual reviews. So annual reports, we report annually to the SBA as a calendar year end. Reports are due June 30th. In those reports, we talk about one of the sections is the job creation requirement of the SBA, and their businesses are to be surveyed on the second anniversary of their funding date. They noted that we had reported, while we had accurate documentation, we reported to incorrectly. One loan which closed in 2015 and the other one in 2016. We have determined that it appears to have been a typo. So we're responding, our responses in the package, as you can see, to the SBA. Also simultaneous with this, Quinn from our team is going through all the job reporting requirements back to the February 2014 date and assuring that our reporting is accurate, and any modifications to those prior reports will be made in our annual report for the as of date of December 31st, 2021. So just wanted to bring this to your attention.
There's a motion outstanding here also.
Oh,
too.
yes, and a motion that you, so we also included in this package, I apologize. A kind of a process and procedure to review the job creation documents received from the clients in compliance with federal regulations and the SBA requirements. Going forward, this is something Tony created. He created it some time ago, and we've been using it, but it is not something that, the two items that were noted were prior to the creation of this document. So we're reaffirming our process and procedure and asking for approval of that as well as the submission to the SBA.
So in the motion here, that we have to put forth here, what is this approve the changes to staff procedure on job reporting? What is that?
So that is in your packet, the last few pages are a job verification calculation. So the SBA requires us to look at part-time jobs as an example,
Mhm.
based on the hours per week worked. And so these sets of forms kind of equalize that. Takes us through the steps of doing the calculation, and then the SBA provides you with the hours that they consider full-time workers within a 12-month period. We do that conversion and then include it in the report.
So this motion here is to satisfy the SBA that we're up on the changes and everything in terms of reporting and all of
Correct.
that? Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
So we got a motion to approve the corrective action change to the 2018-2019 SBA annual report review and approve the changes to staff procedure on job reporting. I need that motion to be moved.
I'll move that. I don't want to be the only one moving, but I'll move it.
This is Chris Johnson. I'll second.
A second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. So now we're getting ready to go into executive session. I need a motion in order to do that so we can discuss some loans.
Dave Brooks,
Dave Brooks moves it.
Second, Joe Rizzo.
Joe Rizzo seconds. All in favor?
Aye.